Let's be honest. If you're an INFJ in a narcissistic family, you've probably been silently struggling for years. You feel like you're going crazy, don't you? The emotional turmoil is constant, but no one talks about it. You were born into a family where emotions are weaponized, where love comes with strings attached, and being too sensitive is a crime. But here's the kicker. You've been silently absorbing it all, thinking it was just the way things are. You might not even realize it, but this struggle is affecting every part of your life, your career, relationships, even your sense of self. Today, we're going to break it down. And I'm not holding back. I'm going to show you why living in a narcissistic family is tearing you apart and what you can do to change it. If you're ready to take control of your emotional health, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's dive in. All right, first thing first. You're constantly the emotional caregiver, but who takes care of you? You know the drill. You're the one everyone turns to when things go wrong, but when was the last time someone asked how you're doing? You're always the one giving, but who's filling your cup? As an INFJ, your empathy knows no bounds. You're wired to care for others, to be that listening ear, the emotional rock. But in a narcissistic family, this trait is exploited. You're expected to keep the peace, to listen without ever being heard. Your needs are dismissed, your feelings are pushed aside, and in the end, you're left empty. Here's the kicker. No matter how much you give, it's never enough. The narcissists in your family don't appreciate the emotional labor you put in. They take and they take. But when it's your turn to ask for help, they either don't notice or, worse, they accuse you of being selfish. You end up feeling like you're drowning in their needs while your own are completely ignored. But here's the hard truth. You are not a machine. Your empathy is a gift, but it's also a sacrifice. If you keep pouring from an empty cup, you'll have nothing left to give. And the moment you stop, you're labeled as distant or uncaring. But that's not the truth. The truth is that you've been programmed to put others before yourself. And it's time to change that. Your emotional energy is valuable. It's time to take a stand and ask, who's taking care of you? Moving on to point number 2. You feel like you're walking on eggshells, and it's never enough. How many times have you held your breath praying you won't say the wrong thing? How many times have you felt like you were walking on eggshells, hoping not to trigger a meltdown? Here's the brutal truth. No matter how hard you try, it's never enough. In a narcissistic family, peace is a fragile illusion. You're constantly on high alert, scanning for signs that things are about to explode. A wrong word, a wrong look, and suddenly you're the target of a rage-fueled tantrum. But here's the catch. Even when you walk on those eggshells, it's still your fault. They'll always find something to complain about. Your best efforts, they don't count. Their anger is never your fault, yet somehow you always end up carrying the blame. This behavior isn't just manipulative. It's a mind game. Narcissists thrive on chaos and control, and guess what? They know exactly how to keep you spinning in circles, second-guessing every decision. You're constantly adjusting your behavior to, quote, keep the peace, but the truth is, peace doesn't exist in this environment. There's always something, and it's always you. You may think you can fix things by being perfect, by keeping quiet, by staying in the background, but let me make one thing clear. They will never let you win. No matter how much you adjust, it will never be enough for them. Their anger is a bottomless pit, and they'll drag you into it time and time again. Here's the hard truth you need to accept. You cannot control their emotions. No matter how hard you try, it's not your job to tiptoe around their fragile egos. It's time to stop walking on eggshells. You don't need their approval to be at peace. Point number 3. Your boundaries are non-existent because they're not allowed. You try to set a boundary. You try to say no. But instead of respect, all you get is guilt, anger, or a complete disregard for your needs. So, let me ask you, what happens when your boundaries don't even exist? In a narcissistic family, boundaries are a foreign concept. The idea of personal space is laughable to them. When you try to carve out even a moment for yourself to say, "I need time to recharge," or "I can't handle this right now," you're met with resistance. Suddenly, you're the one being selfish. The narcissist doesn't care about your limits. They only care about their own needs. Your no becomes a personal attack on them, and if you push hard enough, you might even be shamed into apologizing for having the audacity to put yourself first. Here's the ugly truth. Narcissists don't respect boundaries because they don't see you as an individual. They see you as an extension of themselves, a tool they can use to fulfill their emotional needs. Your needs? Not important. Your space? Not allowed. The moment you put your foot down, they push back twice as hard. You become the villain for simply trying to protect yourself. They want you to be constantly available, constantly serving, constantly sacrificing. But here's the wake-up call. You are not their emotional servant. Your well-being is just as important as theirs. If you keep letting them bulldoze over your boundaries, you'll lose yourself in the process. You'll be exhausted, burnt out, and resentful. You deserve respect. You deserve the right to say no without feeling guilty. It's time to stop letting them dictate your emotional landscape. Start setting boundaries, no matter how much they try to manipulate you into abandoning them. You are not their emotional punching bag. Point number 4. You're the scapegoat, or worse, the invisible one. Ever feel like everything wrong in your family is your fault? Like you're the one who always takes the blame, no matter how hard you try to do the right thing? Or maybe you don't even exist to them, like you're invisible. Which one are you? In narcissistic families, it's common to be stuck in one of two roles, the scapegoat or the invisible one. If you're the scapegoat, prepare to have every single mistake, big or small, blamed on you. Nothing is ever their fault, and when things go wrong, you're the one who gets the blame. It doesn't matter how hard you work, how much you give, or how much you try to be the good child, you're the target. You're the one who bears the brunt of everyone's frustration. And then there's the invisible role. If you're the invisible one, you might feel like you don't even exist in your family's eyes. They don't notice your accomplishments, they don't see your pain, and they certainly don't care about your feelings. It's as if you're a ghost, walking around unnoticed, your needs and desires completely disregarded. You might be physically there, but emotionally non-existent. Here's the harsh reality. Neither role is healthy. Whether you're blamed for everything or erased entirely, you're being treated like an afterthought. The narcissists in your family are using you as a pawn in their twisted game, either to deflect their own shortcomings or to avoid acknowledging their emotional abuse. But here's the wake-up call. You do not have to accept these roles. You don't have to carry the weight of their mistakes, and you don't have to be invisible. The narcissistic system they've trapped you in, it's not your truth. It's time to break free from the labels they've forced on you. You don't have to be their punching bag or their ghost. You're allowed to take up space, to exist, and to stop carrying their emotional burdens. Point number 5. You're always too sensitive, but you're actually spot on. How many times you've been told you're too sensitive, that you need to toughen up? But let me ask you, what if you're not too sensitive at all? What if you're just seeing the truth that no one else is willing to face? In a narcissistic family, your feelings are never valid. The moment you react, the moment you call out a behavior or express your emotions, you're hit with the same label. You're overreacting. You're just too sensitive. They use this as a weapon to shut you down, to make you doubt your own reality. But here's the thing. This isn't your problem. It's theirs. You're not too sensitive. You're emotionally intelligent, perceptive, and in tune with the underlying currents that others either ignore or dismiss. While they continue their manipulative games, you see right through them. But because they can't handle being exposed, they turn the tables and make you feel crazy. Here's the truth. You see through their mask. You notice the little things, the passive-aggressive comments, the backhanded compliments, the emotional manipulation. You feel the discomfort in the room before anyone else. And when you speak up, you're made to feel like you're the problem. But you're not crazy, they are. And they're trying to silence you because they don't want to face their own behavior. This constant invalidation chips away at your confidence. It makes you second-guess yourself. But here's the key takeaway. Trust your gut. Your intuition is one of your greatest strengths as an INFJ. If something feels off, it's because it is. Stop letting their gaslighting make you question your reality. You're not too sensitive. You're just right. Point number 6. You're exhausted, but you can't escape the guilt. Do you feel emotionally drained, yet every time you try to take a step back, you're hit with an overwhelming wave of guilt? You're burnt out, but you can't seem to escape the nagging feeling that you're doing something wrong by prioritizing yourself. Let me be clear. This guilt, it's not yours. It's been drilled into you by years of narcissistic manipulation. In a narcissistic family, you are made to feel guilty for taking care of yourself. You're told that if you stop giving, if you stop sacrificing, the whole family will fall apart. You're convinced that if you take time for your own well-being, you're being selfish. But here's the ugly truth. You're being emotionally abused into believing you have no right to rest, to take space, to be. You've been taught that your value comes from giving, from constantly being there for others, even if it means sacrificing your own mental and emotional health. The narcissists in your family have trained you to feel responsible for their happiness. But here's what no one tells you. That guilt is a tool. They use it to keep you locked in their control. They want you to feel like you owe them everything, when in reality, they owe you respect, care, and emotional balance, things they can't even begin to offer. Here's the reality. If you don't take care of yourself, you will burn out. You can't pour from an empty cup, and the longer you ignore your own needs, the more you'll lose yourself in the process. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to take breaks. You are allowed to put yourself first. The guilt is not yours to carry. It's time to let go of the burden. Stop letting them use it against you. Your emotional survival depends on it. So here's the truth. You are not the problem. The family dynamic is broken, and you've been stuck in it for way too long. If you want to thrive as an INFJ, you need to start setting boundaries. You need to stop playing their games. You need to take your power back. Will it be easy? No. But will it be worth it? Hell yes. Start today. Take one step toward reclaiming your life. And remember this, you are not alone. Your silent struggle can end today.